Hi everyone, welcome back to Painting at Home. I'm Jean Moss. It's a very special day here at my studio because as you know, we had to reschedule our initial show, our episode, but luckily enough, it is happy hour. So I've brought my wine, put my ice cube in it. Let's take a sip and see what surprises we have for you today. Chardonnay. I will give you a moment all to go grab a glass of wine or whatever your favorite drink is. Today is very special, and I'll tell you why. Not only is it happy hour, but we are going to be doing a new kind of painting today. This is so exciting and special. It is an actual watercolor painting. I know, I was so lucky to come into some watercolor paintings. Turns out the child next door was not home, so I just simply borrowed them. We will thank him later. I've got so many colors. They are indeed Crayola again. And today I thought, because it is the season, and one thing that people have been missing this season, not able to see, are the cherry blossoms. So lucky us. We're gonna have a little wine. I call it wine and watercolor. Tune in. Yesterday we did coffee and crayon, and today is wine and watercolor. So grab a glass of wine and let's get started. Now, as I've said before, my favorite sort of surface to paint on is paper. I love loose leaf paper taped up against my wall here. You can use canvas, whatever you want to use. Now today, I've already gone ahead and drawn out sort of a background for what we're going to do. I used my trusty ballpoint pen, which I think we all have access to at our houses. Now, I've never actually painted with watercolor, so we're gonna give this kind of a try and see how it goes. So I've got my trusty brush, and I've got some beautiful colors here. So what I have here is the cherry blossom. We're gonna act as if we're sort of peeking around the corner of a cherry blossom tree. And then we have beautiful sky. We'll draw some clouds. I've got a little mountaintop or a hillside, and then some water. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I always love to get started with the water. Now, for those of you who don't know about watercolor, what you must do is you have to actually dip it in water. I have such a glass of water with me right here. So I've just gone ahead and dipped my brush in the water. And we're going to start with the water on our page. So I have a beautiful blue color, and I'm just going to get down and dirty with my brush in this blue. Look at that. So I'm just going to add a little extra water. Now you want to tap that against the glass. I don't know if you can hear that. Tap, 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 tap. There it is. All right, so here is our blue. Let's see how that goes. So I've already drawn it with my lines, right? And I'm just going to go straight across and just kind of outline that. Oh, this is enchanting, this water color. Now I've saturated my brush completely. Here we go, and I'm just going to go across the page and just start to sort of fill that in. Now every time it seems that you want to replenish your paint, you're going to want to dip in that water. I'm just kind of blending here. And now look at this, I'm just going to go over. Oh, beautiful. Well, now I understand why people paint with watercolors. It is an exquisite texture. Fantastic. So we're just kind of going across our water here. I hope you have your glass of wine because we are in for such a treat here today. I'm going to dip one more time in the water and go back to that beautiful rich blue. Got some great colors here today. Luckily, we had access to them, and luckily that apartment next door was unlocked. So able just to walk right in and borrow those watercolors. We will make sure to bring them back. Great, so now I'm gonna rinse off my brush. We've outlined, and I'm gonna shade now here a little bit. So we have a lot of different options with watercolor. This is what's so wonderful about watercolor. Those of you just joining, we actually have paint today, a very exciting day. I was saying I got some access to some beautiful paint from the child next door who wasn't actually home. So we just went in and we're just borrowing a few things from our neighbors, being a little bit neighborly today. So I'm gonna go ahead and shade him with a little purple here. I think this is kind of a nice sort of complementary color to blue, according to a book I read one time. Seems appropriate. So we're just gonna go ahead and kind of shade this in. This is our water. We have a scenescape today, another landscape with cherry blossoms. It is the season for cherry blossoms. Of course, not many of us are able to see them right now, so I thought I'd give everyone at home a little bit of a treat and bring cherry blossoms to you. How lucky. I have my glass of wine with me. I invite you all to join me in this cherry blossom wine and watercolor happy hour. Okay, we're just filling that right in there. It looks beautiful, so we're gonna just kind of keep filling this in. I've chosen purple to complement the blue. So we're just going to do a couple layers. Now I'm using just one of those sort of staccato strokes just to kind of fill in. Now another thing that I want to add to this, another color rather, is a green. I have a few shades of green. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and mix them. So I'm just sort of tapping my brush. Now once again, with watercolor, you want to make sure you dip that right in the water. That's why they call it watercolor. That's how the paint is actually activated. So we're just kind of going back and forth here and filling this in. Just kind of painting back and forth, and I'm doing once again just kind of a staccato stroke. Beautiful, yeah. And I love watercolor because you can kind of just let it fade out. It's such a beautiful quality to watercolor. Look at that. I'm mixing two different kinds of greens. We have sort of a mint green, and then we also have like a sea green. So we're mixing both of those just to get a little bit of that texture with our water, and then I'm going to go back over it with a little bit more blue. We're almost done here with our second little layer here. Mixing, mixing, mixing. Oh, this is terrific. Okay. So we're drawing cherry blossom trees today. I've never actually seen a cherry blossom tree, but I did Google it, and it seems very doable. Great, so this is our water. It's just a little bit of a pond, and I think there's a little moss in the pond. That's another reason why I thought green might be a nice color. I'm gonna go back to that blue and just kind of fill in here, and now I'm gonna create some textures. So I'm gonna actually add a little circular motion to this. This is going to give that water some movement, some texture, and we should be almost done here with our water. This is just the surface today. If you guys remember yesterday, we did Under the Sea. Oh, so much wonderful compliments from that painting. I bet a lot of you wonder what happens to my paintings. Well, I usually hang them in my dog's bedroom right afterwards. Oh, she loves them. She gets a kick out of them. She just kind of barks at me whenever I go in there and hang up my painting. It's very silly. Who knows what she's thinking? Probably saying, "Nice painting, Mom." I don't know. Shoot, whatever you think. All right, we're just about done filling in our water here with the watercolor. It's going wonderfully. I'm just kind of wetting my brush, and I've got a little water here on what is actually a cutting board that I found in my home. We're going to use that as our little paint palette today. We're just about finished here with our water. It's coming along just beautifully. As you can see, I'm doing a little bit of a circular sort of motion, and we're just going to finish that up. Oh, terrific. And there's our water. This is just great. I'm going to keep a little bit of a border, because one thing you maybe think about doing is keeping a little border just in case you want to frame any of your work. I invite you to frame your work, hang it up in your house. It's a great accent piece in any home, and a great conversation piece. Here we go. For those of you joining, this is Wine and Watercolor, a special segment here on Painting at Home. I am Joan Moss. Jean Moss, as I like to call myself. Joan is some of the letters I've been receiving lately. Just to clarify, my name is Jean, not Joan. Here we go. Those of you writing in, although if you call me Joan, shoot, I'll probably answer. Who knows? I'm just filling this all in, and we're finishing up our pond here. We're drawing some cherry blossom trees today. It is the season. Many of us can't get out to see it, so I've outlined my cherry blossom tree, and then this is our green hillside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that hillside and probably come at it with a couple of different greens. I have a different mint green as well. This one's a lighter mint green. Let's see what that looks like. Kind of an Easter egg green, I like to call it. You can call it whatever you want. Here's my hillside. Beautiful hillside. If you recall, yesterday we were using a wonderful little coloring option. We were using crayon by Crayola. These paints actually are also Crayola. Here we go. We're just outlining. And there's our hillside. I've already outlined this in pen, ballpoint pen. Those of you just tuning in, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of brown to my hillside just to capture just some of that green and brown. My grass can sometimes turn a little bit brown. Okay, we're almost finished here with the hillside. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. I know I am. The sun is shining. We're using watercolor today, a new kind of painting that we've not done here at Painting at Home. We tend to stick mostly with crayon and just any household item you want to find. I hope everyone's doing well today. Grab a glass of wine, join us, and maybe take to painting yourself. Ooh, this is a nice color. I've mixed a little bit of that green with a little bit of that brown, and you'll notice, oh, it's creating a wonderful shade. Wonderful shade. Let's keep on that. Let's get a little more of that green, a little more of that brown. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, maybe maybe the snow has just melted. Maybe it's just beginning to grow back that green. Wonderful, wonderful. Now I'm using the size of brush. It's probably about a 1/4 of an inch brush. I'm not super sure that's accurate, but we'll guess. We'll take an educated guess here. We're just filling in. And then I'm going to just add kind of a grassy texture here. We're using watercolor today. It's really very exciting type of paint because you can do so much with it. It's so flexible. Similar to our crayons. Great, so we're just filling in this hillside here. So lucky. Here we go. And we're just finishing up here. I might keep a little bit of a sunspot down here. Now we talked a little bit about where's your light coming from? What is your light source? This can be metaphorical. This can also be in your painting. So I'm going to choose my light sources. Right here there's a beam. Now, what I might do even, here we go, fill that in. Just leave a little bit of texture here. This is looking very wonderful. I'm just doing a pretty broad stroke. A broad stroke is a wider type stroke. Here we go. All right, now we've filled this in and we've left a little bit. This is terrific. Okay, so here's our sunspot. Here's our light source. Wonderful. Now let's go ahead and get to that tree. We've been talking about cherry blossom trees. My tree is over to the right here, and I am choosing to sort of peek around the tree. So we've got a big broad stump here, a big broad stump that I'm going to go ahead and choose to paint brown. Why not? Maybe brown, and you know what? I'm going to be a little bold and daring today. Maybe it's the line. I don't know. And we're just going to go ahead and add a little gray to that. Look at that. Oh, that's wonderful. Now I'm doing more of a vertical. This is called a vertical stroke. Vertical just means up and down. And I'm going to do kind of a broad stroke because I like to leave a little bit of that white to imagine, maybe there's just a little bit of white on this tree. Maybe I'll add a little black, a little brown, a little black. Here's my palette. There we go. Now we're just going to stroke up and down. We've talked a lot about stroking your painting, kind of massaging it a little bit with the brush. Very good. And I'm going to go ahead and make that go all the way up. So a little bit broader stroke here, and we're going all the way up. There we go. Now, there's a little bit of a break in this painting because this is where I have my tape. So that may not stick, but you just use your imagination. There we go. And now we get to the fun part, the cherry blossoms. So I've already kind of outlined how we're going to draw the shape of this tree. You know I love a big stump and a good rounded tip. So we have a rounded tip here, and we're going to kind of play around with color. Cherry blossoms, from what I saw in the pictures, are a lighter pink. Luckily, we have such a color. And you know what? I'm going to mix it with some of this lighter yellow. For those of you who can see, I have a sort of an Easter egg palette. It's very wonderful. And I'm going to do a tinier circular motion. I did this yesterday, and I'm just going to kind of do it again. Oh, there's a cherry blossom, and there's another one. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. So I'm going to keep wetting my brush. Want to make sure that brush always stays wet, especially when dealing with big trees with big trunks. Yes, keep that brush nice and wet. Wonderful. I might add a little bit of this purple. Oh, and a little mauve. One of my favorite words for colors is mauve. It's kind of like a brownish pink. And we're just going to keep circling. Oh, that's terrific. Look at that. That is exactly the color I saw in the pictures. I've never actually seen a cherry blossom before in life, in person, but we Googled it and we know just what we're doing. And I'm just drawing these little circles. I'm going to keep a little bit of white because when we get to our sky finally, I'm going to just kind of fill that in there. So we've got a little bit of pink, and let's just keep on those circles. I love the different shades of pink. You play around at home, see what you find. Maybe you got a little purple in your cherry blossoms. Whatever you think. Good, now we're just filling it in here, and I'm giving it a little bit of a roundness, just a tiny little wrist stroke. Sometimes when you're doing this, your wrist might get a little bit stiff, so go ahead and just shake it off. Shake it off. Okay, and then you can pick up your brush and get right back to work. Fantastic. Let's give this a go. I'm making this mauve color. I'm mixing. Now you can see I'm mixing. I'm just taking little dips of color and just mixing it right in the center. And now we're going to get back to that shading, that circle. Oh, this looks beautiful. I cannot wait to hang this up in my dog's bedroom. That's where most of my paintings go. She loves it. She just looks up at me, and I can tell she's just saying, "Thank you, Mom." I told her. Okay, we're almost done with this tree here. Might add a little bit more texture. Just doing that sort of round, circular motion. Alrighty, we're just about finished with our cherry blossoms. Make sure you're having a little bit of wine. I've got some wine here. Let's check in with my wine, shall we? And I'm just going to take a moment to toast to everyone who's watching. Hello and welcome to Happy Hour. This is Watercolor and Wine with I'm Jean Moss. Back at it again. Okay, we're just finishing up our cherry blossom tree here, creating lots of wonderful colors. I'm going to make a little blossom out here, and a little blossom down here. And we're just about wrapping up here with the tree. I'm going to get into some wonderful sky in just a few moments. Just fill this in. Oh, that's terrific. And I'm just doing these tiny little circular motions to get the essence of how a cherry blossom tree might look. And again, never really seen one in real life, but I can imagine, according to Google. Oh, so many people say, "Jean, I did not know I could paint at home." You can paint at home. I think as long as you have electricity and daylight, you can pretty much do anything at home. Here we go. Okay, we're just finishing up that cherry blossom tree, and it's looking wonderful. Now, one thing about cherry blossoms is they do have a little bit of pollen in the middle, so I'm just going to take a little brown here and just kind of dab little textures. You know I love my textures. This is our cherry blossom tree. A little bit of brown. And we are finished with our cherry blossom. So we've got a little pond here, a little hillside, and our beautiful cherry blossom tree. This is looking wonderful. Now we're going to go ahead and draw. This is one of my favorite things, and I've never done it before. We are going to do some clouds. I love cloud work. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that wonderful blue color. Oh, and maybe a little gray. Let's see what that looks like. Now, once again, when you mix this, all you have to do is take one color and then the other color and just mix them. And I'm going to do that circular motion. Oh, look at that beautiful color. I'm just going to start to create a little shape here. There's a little shape. There's a cloud. And I'm doing those tiny little circles again. I'm just keeping wetting my brush here. And here we go. Let's grab that gray color. Perfect. Blue, and just keep drawing. There's a cloud, a little rascal in the sky. What shape is that cloud today? Let's find out. I'm going to draw a little cloud on this side too. Get that brush nice and wet. You always want to keep your brush wet, especially when you're drawing big, girthy clouds. Here's another one. I'm going to draw a longer cloud over here. This one's kind of hanging over the hillside. It's going to have a little bit of roundness right here. Let's see, maybe a little bit bigger, a couple of clouds in the back kind of anchoring it down, maybe here. Oh, that's beautiful. Maybe over here. It's going to hide behind the tree a little bit, come down. There we go. There's that cloud. Great. There's a cloud just kind of spilling out over there. This is looking wonderful. Let's bring this bad boy on home with a little sky. How about a sun sky in the back? So we're going to take a little orange. I have this wonderful Easter egg orange and a little Easter egg yellow. They're going to both be called Easter egg. Why not? You make up your own names. Here we go. We've got yellow, a little bit of orange, and I'm just going to do a wide stroke now. I'm going to do it all over. I want to keep a little bit of white in the background of this because I think it's a nice contrast to all of these beautiful colors. We are watercoloring and whining today. Wine and watercolor is our segment today. One of my favorites. A little happy hour. Happy indeed, I'll say. And we're just going to keep kind of stroking that sky. This is coming together just beautifully, everybody. I hope you're having as much fun painting at home as I am here. Such a perfect day for painting, this beautiful, wonderful sunny day. Perfect lighting for it. Just bring that on home. Alright, just a couple more strokes here. Keep stroking that painting. Massage it with your brush. Massage it with your brush. This is looking just beautiful. We're almost there. Here we go. Okay, just just a little bit of yellow in that sky. We can tell that the sun is definitely shining down in the background here behind those clouds. I definitely get that feeling. Here we go, and we are stroking. We're just about finishing up here with our cherry blossom trees. And I would like a little bit more accent on that cloud there, so I'm just gonna run on back to it for a moment. Get a little more of that gray, a little bit more of that blue. Here we go. Oh, a deeper color. There we go. There we go. This is beautiful. Okay. And right over here. Great. And then maybe just a little spilling out right there. That looks just wonderful. We're just going to finish up here with a little bit more texture just across the sky. And you can really recreate this kind of thing at home. This is just for anyone to do. It's pretty simple. Just a brush, some water, some paint. Who knew? Who knew? All right, we're just finishing up our sky, and we have our cherry blossom seascape. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit for you to have a quick look. This is our watercolor cherry blossom tree. I almost feel like I'm there. Thank you all so much for joining me. This has been another episode of Painting at Home with Jean Moss. Today we did watercolor and wine for happy hour. This is our cherry blossom scene. Feel free to look around, see if you can find some cherry blossoms wherever you live. Probably in any city, any country, who knows. Look around, and if you can't find one in your own neighborhood, you can always turn to Google. Thank you all so much. Look around and find the scapes.